All right, man. Torture talk. Hey, everybody. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Hey. Don't get so excited. Don't get so excited. I know I'm in the building. Hey, man. Look, man. I know y'all seen that episode this morning. I had to look, man. I don't got a reason to lie. I'm not into all that. I'm not into all that. No reason to lie. Like, come on. I typed that in. I just had to show y'all. Anyway, so today's episode, Rory and Maul speaks on rappers nowadays. After a certain point, these rappers are all mid to them, and they never really pop. But I got a reason why that is, and yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Before we get into that, I gotta get a legendary spill. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscription today. All the beautiful, single, sexy ladies, put one in the chat. I know y'all like,
what the fuck is this nigga talking about?
all the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones at. Just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description. Cash App, no more PayPal. They call me the hidden gem. I went from 1,300 subscribers to over 13, 14, 15, 16, 17,000 subscribers. Yes, the king has 17,000 subscribers. You know what I'm saying? And I am the Night King, King of the North, whichever king you want to call me. Just don't call me Burger King. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, let me know what kingdom you from. So we're gonna get right to it, man. Let's do it. All right, man. So we're gonna see what these two brothers gotta say about some things, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, let's get to it. Let's do it.
I mean, I don't know, we've been having this conversation, I feel like, for years. I'll humbly say, I think I was the first podcaster to bring this up. Well, as much as I like Lil Baby, everyone was like, he's the next one. We have not seen a rap superstar since Drake, Kendrick Cole. We've had great artists.
Um, I think the reason why that is, and he's right about that, if you think about it, outside of Megan Thee Stallion, because I believe she's a rap superstar at this point. Cardi B, some of the females, I believe they're rap superstars, and because don't get me wrong, I think Meg music is okay. I think she's all right. I think she has a very aggressive flow, but the thing about female hip hop is they don't know how to be consistent enough to stay relevant. And most of them, I don't know, I don't even want to say it like that. A lot of them, they just lazy. I'm just gonna be honest. They lazy. They lazy. And Meg's not really lazy. I can't really put that on her because Meg puts out a lot of music, so she's not really lazy. The other two, Nicki Minaj she's already solidified. She's a legend already, in my opinion. I don't think she's the best female artist of all time. Off the metrics, she is, but I don't think she's the best female rapper of all time. But she don't have to do nothing else. Cardi B won an album, and she's like at the forefront. But I can't really say too much about that too because Lauryn Hill had one album. You know what I'm saying? But female artists, they get to a certain point and they just give up or they just stop. I don't know. Meg's been killing it. She been dropping music after music after music. You know what I'm saying? And I don't really like Meg Thee Stallion like that. I think she's okay, but I don't like her like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I sit here and lie to y'all. I don't really like her like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think that she is her. I can't sit here and deny her work ethic. Yeah, she definitely put herself in that position. You know what I'm saying? But outside of them, well, I can't really name Nicki, but who else is there that we would say is a hip hop superstar? Jack Harlow? Like, and we're talking about, that the crazy thing is, All right, let's be clear here, right? If we're gonna talk, let's talk. Because a lot of us don't really want to mention other people's names because either they don't agree with your view politically or whatever, but they still use the rap component. You know what I'm saying? So it's other artists out there that a lot of people don't listen to that are pretty big. You know what I'm saying? That are I would say is probably superstars. But again, the normal hip hop community don't listen to these people, even though they rap. You know what I'm saying? Tom McDonald's one. Dax is another. And I know a lot of people hate Tom McDonald. A lot of people hate Dax. But these guys are stars. Now, I'm not going to say that they're on J. Cole and Kendrick. Maybe Tom McDonald. He has multiple number ones. But I'm not going to say he's on Kendrick and Drake in what's the name's level. J. Cole. No, absolutely not. But I don't think that some of us, we shut certain people out. We don't take it. We don't take hip hop in its totality. Some people say, well, they're just culture vultures or whatever. That could be true. That could be true. I'm just saying there's other people besides the people that he is naming, but they don't consider these people hip hop. The same thing with like Pitbull, Flo Rida, Tech Nine. Maybe not Tech Nine so much, but Pitbull and Flo Rida. Even though they use the rap component, especially like Flo Rida, people don't consider him hip hop. I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Let's keep it going.
They've never even remotely come close to the superstar role the way those guys have. I mean, I think Future, Nicki, Travis, all great examples, but this new generation, there's no star. There isn't. There just simply is not a new star.
But we know why, though. Like, we've had this talk years ago, and I told you years ago, it's easier for artists or for somebody to get into the industry now because all you need is a record that'll go viral, take off, and then all of a sudden the industry is going to, or, you know, the label's going to put money behind this person who's not even a real artist, who just caught a record and is not ready for that type of, you know, responsibility of upholding a certain ethic of music and culture.
Okay, so I'm going to run that back a little bit because I want y'all to hear what he just said. Because even though it sounds like he's contradicting himself, he's actually right on what he just said. So I'm going to run it back a little bit, then I'm going to speak on it.
The label's going to put money behind this person.
There's no star. There isn't. There just simply is not a new star.
But we know why, though. Like, we've had this talk years ago, and I told you years ago, it's easier for artists or for somebody to get into the industry now because all you need is a record that'll go viral, take off, and then all of a sudden the industry is going to, or, you know, the label's going to put money behind this person who's not even a real artist, who just caught a record and is not ready for that type of, you know, responsibility of upholding a certain ethic of music and culture and things like that. That's not what they're in it for. They're just trying to get out of their mom's basement and pay some bills.
I think that happens, but
All right, no, what he said is absolutely right. A lot of these artists are not real artists. They're not. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The baby, little baby, the baby, little baby, all the young bulls, all of these bulls, all of the ones that you can't even remember their names. You know what I'm saying? All of these dudes, none of these dudes are real artists. They make music that they niggas like. That's it. Or people that support them like. They're not real artists because if you are a real artist, you will do music that is not this. That's not typically the same type of music. If you listen to Little Baby, all of his albums are similar or exactly alike. They sound the same. You can literally switch out songs from each album, and you won't even know what album it came from. And he's boring. You know what I'm saying? His cadence is so boring. I mean, some people might like that. I'm saying I think it's boring. He doesn't try anything different. He don't try nothing new. It's the same old, and I can't like, bro, this is all he does in his music. No growth. He's been rapping, what, I would say more than 5 years. He's been making music. No growth at all. Nothing I could say, yeah, I don't like him, but he really impressed me on this album. Like, I'll give you an example. Lil Yachty did a song with J. Cole, and he was spitting. Now, he wasn't the greatest lyricist of all time, but I can see that he put effort into it. Now, I thought Lil Yachty was the staple for trash niggas. Like, he's the top guy of trash. You know what I'm saying? I thought he was. I ain't gonna see it and lie to y'all. I thought he was. Him, Lil Uzi Vert. Every time you brought up trash rappers, Lil Yachty name was highlighted in highlighter marker at the top. He was the crown jewel of trash. Like he was. But what happened? He started doing things, and certain songs I don't like from him. But him, Kodak Black and Lil Uzi Vert, it was all these dudes ruined hip hop. They was putting it on them. Like they made hip hop bad. They trashed hip hop. People was literally saying hip hop fell off because of these three dudes. And he got in a song with J. Cole and he held his own. You know what I'm saying? Which was a fire song, by the way. He was spitting on that joint. And then Kodak Black, he was on a song with Kendrick, which he did his thing. Now, again, people are saying that Lil Baby can rap. He's out rapping everybody. Oh, he out rapped Drake. He out rapped this person. He out rap. Whatever. I'm just saying, for me, no growth. No type of artistic elevation from this guy. So he's right. He's right. All of them, from NBA Youngboy, even though he's NBA Youngboy. Now, let me be clear here. He's a superstar. But how would I say this? NBA Youngboy has the most album sales or streams or whatever. He has all that. He's a superstar. But I think the reason why that is, and why, because people got to understand, we live in the age of social media and the internet. You got a lot of people who are online who like artists, but don't go and purchase their music. I think that's what NBA Youngboy is at. If he was to drop a physical album, I don't think people would go purchase his album. You know what I'm saying? I don't. But he's in a different space, and I would say that maybe he probably would be a superstar. I'm not going to sit here and cap. NBA Youngboy could be one of those guys that you consider a superstar because he has too many accolades right now.
This gentleman's point, like, I think Uzi has put in his 1,000 hours. As much as like Uzi isn't always my type of vibe, like I would never think Uzi was just some artist that happened to just get on and like had one viral moment. He's been here and impacted the culture through his art. Like he's a real artist, even if it's not my type of shit. I can respect what Uzi is doing and understand that it hasn't strayed that far away from real artist integrity. Like,
well, then you have to say it like this: Uzi Vert, Kodak Black, and Lil Yachty are at the forefront of what the young rappers were, and they started that movement. Got to give them that. And on top of that, to me, they was the ones that put themselves in a place. Now, Triple X, even though he passed, I think that Triple X, if he was still around, he would have been bigger than all of them because his music was better. You know what I'm saying? That's just that. He would have been bigger than all of them. I think he had a vision that a lot of rappers didn't have. He did something different. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that those three guys, Yachty, Uzi, and Kodak, especially Kodak, them guys are solidified, even though they are who they are. You have to put them in that category. I would say they're this generation's legends. I have to say that. They are. Their names are synonymous. Their names are bigger than everybody else's name that we would name. And if we were to go down a list of the top 5 new generation rappers, it would be, in my opinion, we would go with the first person we would probably go with was NBA Youngboy. Then we will go with Kodak Black. Then we will go with Lil Yachty. or Little Uzi, then Little Yachty. Either way, those people right there would be the goats of this generation right here, my opinion. And then it would be a little baby. You know what I'm saying? He would be probably 6 in my opinion. I know some people probably put him higher, but he'll probably be 6 in my opinion. So let's keep going.
Yeah, but somebody
There's a bunch of people that just get on for a fucking week and it's like you had one song, whatever. But he named people 21, Meg, Lotto, Kodak, like all have great catalogs and are real artists down to their core. They're just not superstars. I don't know if that's just a reflection of how consumers get music. There's just so many options, and it's not like when it was radio where we were listening to the.
Well, you also got to understand too, impact is different from being a superstar. We would say that NBA YoungBoy is a star. He has a lot of stuff. But he doesn't have the impact of a Drake, a Kendrick, or a Cole. Especially Drake and Kendrick. None of these people have that impact. The only people that have that impact is Jay, Nas, 50, Big, Pac, Dre, Snoop. That's the impact. You got to understand too, Kendrick and Drake been rapping for over 10 years. Some of these dudes haven't been rapping for 5 years. And if they haven't released a lot of music within that 5 years. It took Drake and Kendrick to become to where they at today. This is years in the making. This ain't just something that they just did overnight. So yeah, you're absolutely right. But the thing is, a lot of these people, they won't be around long. So when you say that there's no superstars, or you say that I say that their impact ain't gonna last long. They might be superstars, but their impact ain't gonna last long. Do I think Megan Thee Stallion's gonna do music for the next 15 years? No, I don't. I don't think that Meg's gonna do 15 years more worth of music. I don't think that none of them people, because they get burnt out. They have no ideas. Kendrick and Drake got his ideas from other people. People say whatever. But Drake, he held on. Can't take that away from the man. You know what I'm saying? Whether he got music from people, whether he stole it, whether he written it himself, he got it from, he kept it going. Kendrick is the same way. J. Cole is the same way. These dudes been putting in work. A lot of these rappers that's been around, name some of the rappers that been around since J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake started. Where are they at now? Where they at now? The rappers that came out when they came out. Where they at now? You don't even remember. You don't remember none of the artists that came out. Oh, you say we got A$AP Rocky is one, and I believe Travis Scott is another one, even though I became a little bit later. But Travis Scott is pretty big. But A$AP Rocky, how many albums he put out? Now he's up there. But outside of that, there's really not many, and there was a lot of rappers back then. A lot of rappers. Where'd they go? Even some female rappers. Where'd they go? They're not even around no more. So what comes along with superstardom is longevity and impact. If you don't have that, you're not going to last long.
7 songs every day, no matter what. We have access to listen to whatever the fuck we want. Discovery is different now. So maybe that's why there aren't superstars, but
no, I don't. Well, maybe, but I'm more on the side of a lot of these artists. When you say superstar, I don't think people understand exactly what it takes to be a superstar. There's a certain level of consistency. There's a certain attention to detail. There's a certain commitment to getting better. To be a superstar, you have to be, all cylinders have to be moving at the same time consistently. And a lot of people just either.
And he's absolutely right about that. He's absolutely right. For you to become a superstar, I'll put it to you like this. It's very difficult to become a superstar because labels, if you're signed to a label, if you're not Kendrick or Drake, you drop something and they don't approve of it, they taking it down. That's what happened with NBA YoungBoy. He was dropping a lot of music and they was taking it down or blocking him or telling him he can't put it out. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing, like, you got to understand. he's right about that when it comes to becoming a superstar. You got to be on. It's got to be like a perfect storm sometimes, because let's say, for instance, I come out, right? I rap. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty good at rapping. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty good at making beats. So let's say I came out, right? And I was doing my thing. And I got a single that's bigger than Drake, one of Drake's singles. Some of them will kind of like block it because he's their bread and butter. They want him to go. I don't have, let's say I don't have the image of it. I'm just a regular guy, but I don't have the image. They're going to be pushing who they think is going to go before they push me. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Like, it has to be a perfect storm. And you know what else I just thought about was one of my favorite artists. And he hasn't really done anything lately. It's Big Crit. Big Crit is one of my favorite artists. At one point, I thought Big Crit was better than Kendrick. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to y'all. I thought Big Crit back then with 2000 and Beyond and all that, yeah, those albums are legendary to me. And I liked Big Crit. Now, I didn't say I didn't like Kendrick. I thought that before I heard Good Kid, Mad City, I was listening to Big Crit. And I thought Big Crit was the guy. I thought he was the next guy. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard Big Crit's music. Y'all need to go on YouTube and look it up. Don't go on iTunes or Apple Music because they don't have all of his stuff on there. Go on YouTube and type in 2000 and Beyond and listen to that album. You know what I'm saying? And you'll see like certified country shit, all that, man. What? Yeah, Big Crit to me was that guy. And I thought he was going to be a superstar. Now, the thing is, Big Crit, he was a successful artist. Cadillactica is classic. Like, he got about 2 classics in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And he's another artist that I think he moved the needle, but it has to be a perfect storm. What happens when you're a Big Crit and you got people like Drake and you got people like Kendrick and Cole in your space? You know what I'm saying? Because if I had to choose out of the 3, out of them, I would put Big Crit in that top 10 with those guys. You know what I'm saying? But what happens when you're a Big Crit and you have Kendrick, Cole, and Drake in your space? Even though you make instrumentals and yeah, like he got a couple of joints that are super fire. And he got a couple of, like, I ain't gonna say hits, but he got a couple of joints out there. But he's the perfect example of you had to be a perfect storm sometimes.
Don't care to be that consistent, are not dedicated enough to getting better. There's a lot of things that I think goes into why there may not be the next, or who can we see as the next superstar. I think that we have good artists that make good songs and good albums and, put on a good show, good performance, but superstar, which is why you see somebody like a Usher who is still probably 30 years, if not more, into music, into his career, and he's still able to go on a world tour. He's still able to go sell out arenas and get residencies that sell out, and with music that he's put out over his career, because Usher has dedicated himself to a certain level of consistency, to a certain level of greatness that I think a lot of people are not willing to dedicate themselves to. So it speaks more to the person and the artist as to why we may not have the next quote unquote superstar. But it's just again, I think that it's because access has been granted to too many undeserving is why we.
Oh, well, I think he has a point there by saying access has been granted to too many undeserving. But when you open the floodgates, you got to understand that everybody's going to want to come in. And if they can say, hey, listen, we got you, we do the single for you or 2 singles, they're going to do that. They're going to do it. If they can make some money off of something, they're going to absolutely do that. Why wouldn't they do it? You know what I'm saying? They're going to do that. Again, I go back to what I tell you about the industry. The industry don't have a side. The industry is about money. They could be rapping about cheeseburgers. The industry will push cheeseburgers. That's what they will do. If all the rappers started to talk about cheeseburgers and the cheeseburger wave came through, and everybody was riding the cheeseburger wave, different type of cheeseburgers. I go to Arby's. I go to Burger King. I go to Five Guys. I go to Five Guys. And the industry be like, yeah, push that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what the industry would do. So I always remember the song that I think is one of the worst songs of all time. And they pushed it. Chicken noodle soup with a soda on the side. I think that's one of the worst songs ever created, but the industry pushed it. What's Ice Spice song? You ain't shit, you're not even a fart. Industry pushed it. Anything that they think is gonna make $1, they're gonna push it. And they're gonna do it proudly too, with a big smile on their face. They're not gonna back down. They're not gonna feel ashamed about it. Because to them, music is money. That's it. Music is money. The right music for them is the right type of money. And they'll push anything if they see it is going.
Probably have a bigger pool of artists and people that were like, hey, what about this person, that person? Yeah, but in all reality, that person was never even supposed to really get on.
When are we allowed to have a conversation of maybe?
Well, I can't say that. I can't say that a person shouldn't be allowed to get on. I think that if it makes sense, if it makes money and it makes sense for some of these record labels and they're gonna do it. I can't tell another man that he doesn't deserve to get on. I just gotta do my music and it has to be better. But I think this is all opinionated. If you say, well, this is why we have so many all right artists, or we have so many mid artists. My thing is, I would rather have, and I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I would rather have an abundance of mid artists than not that much good artists. Because let's be clear here, music would be dry as hell. Dry as hell. And I love Kendrick. But if it was only Kendrick and Cole and Drake making music, and that's it, and we would have to wait 3-4 years for every time a rap album come out, I don't think that that's a good thing. I don't. I'm all for quality over quantity, 100%. But I'm also all for people giving people a shot. You know what I'm saying? Because if you never know, some people need a shot and they might get better. There's artists that gotten better. They gotten better. So I can't agree with this person shouldn't have gotten a chance. I think everybody should get a chance. If you are an artist and you really dedicated, you should get a chance. The only way I don't think you should get a chance if you're not dedicated. If you're not dedicated to what you're doing, or if you just out here just basically, just trying to make a come up. But I think that a lot of artists, I think some of them are dedicated. I think a good portion of artists are dedicated to what they do. I just think that some of them just not good at what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Their music's just not that good.
That too. That's part of it. I said consistency. You have to be great consistently. You have to put out hits consistently. You have to put out great albums consistently to be considered a superstar. Every time you hit the stage, people have to be in awe. You have to get better and better every time somebody sees you. Like, it's a lot that goes into being a superstar. You have to change your entire, the way you think, the way you walk, talk, the things you believe in, like you have to change completely, evolve into
DNA.
You have to change your DNA completely if you're trying to be a superstar. And a lot of people are not willing to make that type of a commitment.
And I saw Peach's eyebrows.
That's a fact. He's 100% correct about that. I will say that. Going back to my last point, I don't want people to get confused by me saying that. And if I'm saying that it should be a bunch of trash stuff. I'm really not saying that. I'm saying that everybody should have a shot. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should get a shot. If you are a musician, you should get a chance to display your music, because just because I might not like it, I don't like NBA Youngboy like that, but he has a whole lot of following. You know what I'm saying? Now, should we cut him off? Should we cut off all the people that like NBA Youngboy and say, nah, you can't be playing that? That's not right. You know what I'm saying? So I think that he's right about that. Also, too, what he just said right there about consistency being a superstar. Yeah, a lot of rappers are not consistent. Hip hop is filled with a lot of people who are not consistent. That's why you see rappers don't have a long, they have a long shelf life, but they don't have a long career. You know what I'm saying? A lot of rappers are not consistent at all. You know what I'm saying? And then the thing is, they get a certain amount of money and either they're in debt or they get a certain amount of money and that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. They don't want to do nothing else.
Raise up. I'm not saying that about Uzi, Meg, Lotto, 21 Savage. I like all of those artists' music. I'm just saying the level of superstardom maybe doesn't match.
You know, another thing too, and I don't mean to keep stopping it so much, but I don't like when people do that. I don't like when you make a general statement and then you try to clarify and say, well, I'm not talking about these people. And I know I probably did that once in a while too. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. And I'm gonna try to correct that within myself. But I don't like when people do that because if you don't like some of Meg's music or some of 21 Savage music, just say that. But see, you know, the backlash they will get, and this is why I say that this is another reason why a lot of these people would never be superstars. Because usually superstars, let me tell you, superstars don't say nothing. A lot of superstars, when you talk about their music, they don't say nothing. They let the music speak for itself. Maybe once in a while they might say something, but for the most part, if a superstar drop an album and you say this album is trash or it ain't good or whatever, they usually don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I think that does speak to a lot of these podcasters who go after superstars because the lower level artists, they pander to them. You see how he's like, oh, I ain't talking about them because he don't want people to get in his comments and say, well, bro, you can't be, nah, bro, you crazy. I'm unsubscribed because this is how they make their money. So a good portion of these artists, their fan base go after these podcasters, and these podcasters, they can't even say how they really feel about the artists. And again, this leads to their point about how there's really no superstars because, and I ain't blaming the fans, I'm just saying a lot of people bully them. They bully people in the comments. And I hate to say it like that, but it's true. They do.
Music-wise. But also, I think it's kind of cool that Uzi, even while his core fan base is not niche, obviously we've seen Uzi sell out insane venues, it's not the most palatable pop music.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of cool that these artists don't have to lean into what's going to work for everybody. And maybe that's the case now, because back then, if you wanted to be a superstar, you had to make music that everyone could listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my mom could listen to it in the car and both be satisfied.
Right.
Maybe it's better that there's not superstars.
I don't know.
I like that Uzi doesn't have to do what he's supposed to do to become a superstar.
I'm not gonna.
He
say
can just make.
That's actually a great point that he just made. Most artists nowadays have their own fan base, and they don't have to have everybody doesn't have to like their music, and that goes back to my thing where I said that everybody should have a chance because people build a fan base. Now, when Maul said, yeah, some of these people should have never been on, I disagree with that because it goes right to what Roy just said, right to what he just said. Some of these people have fan bases and these people love their music. That's just what it is. And another thing too, we got to understand, we are older. We're not young. So a good portion of young people, they cater, they're wanting to listen to people like NBA Youngboy, people like Uzi Vert and Lil Yachty. They want to listen to them. We might not want to, but they like that. That's their, and that's the beautiful part of it, of hip hop. It is not just for all old heads. As you throw on some Biggie Smalls, a lot of them old young boys don't know. They'd be like, what? Even Tupac, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear something that they know. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of how we was when we was growing up. We didn't want to hear Rakim and well, maybe not Rakim, but we didn't want to hear Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, and all of them. old school rappers. We wanted to hear Biggie, Nas, Jay, M. That's what we wanted to hear.
The music that he wants to make, and people will follow.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna say it's better to not have superstars. I'm not gonna say that. We do need superstars. We do need those artists that we look at and we're just like, wow. Like you need that. I think every generation needs that.
They have Taylor.
Yeah, no, we have superstars. But again, you're talking about new superstars. Like who do we see as the next superstars? I don't know. I don't know if I see one where I'm like,
you guys said Playboy Cardi. It's funny that this conversation, you guys are finally agreeing with me that superstar is a different category.
No, I'm not.
Like
in that aspect of the conversation, we're talking about Cardi. I was just saying the things that he's doing is superstar shit. Now, whether it's your type of vibe and your type of music that you can't really get into is a whole nother thing. I can't really get into that. I will never go to a Playboy Cardi show. That's just not my type.
I would go for research purposes.
But I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't think he's a superstar. I think that if Playboy Cardi announced he was performing at a stadium tomorrow in any city, I think it sells out. Any city.
That's actually a good point. I can't gauge that one. Do I think Playboy Cardi is a superstar? I don't think so. I don't think he's a superstar. You know what's crazy? I don't think Playboy Cardi's a superstar off of his music. I think he's a superstar off of his image, if that makes sense. I don't think, because to me, for you to be a superstar, I'm into music 100%. I can't even name 3-4 Playboy Cardi songs. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't. And I'm heavy into music. And I can't name 3 or 4 of his songs. I can name one song he did with The Weeknd, and that's Timeless. But anything outside of that, I can't name a good portion of his music. So do I believe he's a superstar? Or do I believe he just his imagery that he created? I think most people gravitate towards that. And then they like his music. He's a vampire, stuff like that. Yeah, that's the thing. Now, when he said superstar and he said Taylor Swift, to me, there's only 2 superstars or 3 on this planet right now. Taylor Swift and The Weeknd. The Weeknd sells out stadiums like it's nothing in minutes. The Weeknd had a show that had over 100,000 people there. So he does shows everywhere, and he's only in stadiums. It ain't no arena. Nah, this is stadiums. So he to me is different. He's in a different category of what we talking about superstar. You know what I'm saying?
No way.
Okay.
A stadium by himself?
Yes.
No way.
Okay. All right.
Could he do the Garden? 100%. Couple nights.
Could he do MetLife?
No.
Travis just did MetLife.
This is where you guys get so disrespectful to certain artists that are in a different category. The amount of work Travis has put into his live show over the last 15 years is why he can do MetLife.
Travis has an insane live show.
Like he's dedicated his life to the live. He does. Even if you don't like Travis's music, you're going to his live show because you know it's going to be a fucking experience.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Y'all gotta stop comparing people to Travis Scott. Travis Scott is one of the, outside of Kendrick, because Kendrick is doing it now, he was one of the only artists that was doing stadiums. Like Travis Scott is really big. And his music is actually pretty good. Like I didn't like Travis Scott like that until recently. Until I started listening to some of his stuff and I said, this guy is actually all right. Like it's not that he's super bar heavy, nothing like that. He just has a different way about going about music. And it's just good. I'll put it to you like this. If I was on, I probably would be more like Travis Scott type of aesthetic when it comes to the music. Now, not the bars, but just how he carries himself in music. I like his sound. I like it. I love his sound.
This is where all my anger came from. A-listers, superstars. Certain names shouldn't be with people that have put in so much work for so many decades. Like, that's why they can do that.
Okay, do you feel like Playboy has a bigger cult following than Travis?
A cult one, sure. But Travis has superseded a cult following.
I think anybody that has a cult following can sell out a stadium. When you have a cult following,
Yeah, I think he's right about that. I think he's right about that. I'm not sitting here pretending as if uh Playboy Cardi couldn't sell out a stadium, because I believe he could, because he has a cult following. I think if he wanted to, he could. Now, I think he could. I think he could. I think he could. I think he could. But I don't think he could do it in any city, but I think he could. I would say a 50,000 John, but not 100,000 John. I don't think he can do that.
You know what?
We got a cult following.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was
man,
gonna
we
say.
don't have no cult following, man. Cut it out. We don't have a cult following. Ain't nobody trying to dress.
Definition?
Ain't nobody trying to dress and look like me and Rory, man.
Yes,
Cut this shit.
Yes, the fuck they are. I've been.
Y'all bugging, bro. Now Rory and Damaris, you done hit your head. Y'all don't have a cult following. Nobody's out here trying to delete people for Rory and Maul. Like, no, that's not happening. No, you might have a bunch of followers, but a cult following is something totally different. I think y'all get it so messed up and y'all just disrespect a cult following. There's only a couple of people on this planet that has a cult following. You know what I'm saying? Only a couple of people. One is the Pope. You know what I'm saying? The other one is the president. And the other one is The Weeknd and Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? And maybe Beyonce. That's a cult following. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else, yeah. And Kendrick Lamar. Another one, cult following. Outside of that, I don't see nobody else having a cult following. Maybe. I gotta think about that. Bad Bunny probably is another one. Yeah, but y'all don't have a cult following. No. You can't. If y'all did a show in a stadium, it's not gonna sell out. Like, come on, Damaris, cut it out.
Just brought this up.
Who, Damaris? Show me. Don't tell me. Show me.
When I said
But also, like, our brand isn't based off like our fashion sense.
Yeah.
Where a lot of artists, that is their thing.
Every time I post a picture, there's 15 money bags putting up underneath it.
A cult following.
That's from y'all.
A cult following is a group of fans who are highly dedicated to a person, idea, object, movement, or work. It's not a number.
It's not a
like,
number,
at what
yeah.
point do we say this is a cult following?
Now y'all trying to use word semantics. Like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. There's no way in the world you believe y'all got. So you basically saying if y'all got 5 people, that's a cult following. Like, cut it out. We know, you know exactly what we're talking about. You know what we're talking about. If you want to reduce your cult following down to 5 people, like, get the fuck out of here, Rory. Cut it out. Y'all don't have a cult following, bro. And if that's the case, I have a cult following. You know what I'm saying? Big Kiss has a cult following. Everybody on YouTube has Screwface Gene. All of these people have a cult following. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no cult following, bro. Cut it out. Like, cut it out, bro. Cut it out.
Following, or it's not.
Larry June has a cult following. A cult following is
Crazy cult
these
following.
people will live and die behind you. Everything you do is cool to them, like, and they're very, very dedicated to you. They want to be just like you. That's a cult following.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with numbers.
So do you think that Playboy Cardi could sell out MetLife Stadium?
No, I don't think that. But I
Y'all
think
are crazy.
Yeah, y'all not making no sense. Y'all basically saying that the man has a cult following, and we all know it's much more than 5. But y'all acknowledge he has a cult following, but then you say y'all don't think he could sell out a stadium. Like, I don't know. But I don't know. Let's just see what else they say. We out of here.
You're crazy. Do you know what it's like to sell out a stadium?
Yo, y'all are crazy that y'all think that. I think that's absolutely crazy that y'all think Playboy Cardi cannot do that. You know, in New York, basically Jersey, but this is New York City. You don't think Playboy Cardi could sell out the MetLife Stadium?
No.
That is
When was the last?
That is wild, bro.
But
That is
what
so
I will
wild.
say is, when it comes to him, I am not informed enough. I'll say that.
Fair. I
informed
appreciate
enough.
that.
I know that he has I know that he does have a cult following, but I don't know how that
His following is
translates to.
insane. Insane. He could, not only do I think he could sell out the MetLife Stadium, I think he could sell out the MetLife Stadium and just stand there. And people will fucking go crazy. Don't even say it. He can just stand there.
I think when it comes to selling out stadiums, you need more than the cult following. I think when it comes to selling out stadiums,
Yeah, you're gonna get
need
people
the
that's gonna
like,
go to try to figure out, like, all right, what is this? Because I'm hearing about this.
For example, when Beyonce has a concert, there are people who are not Beyonce fans who will go to a Beyonce show. It's going to be the same thing with Chris Brown. It's going to be the same thing with just any like people who have that fan base. Lady Gaga.
You ever went to
Taylor
a show
Swift,
of
who
somebody
aren't-
you weren't a fan of and left as a fan?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Because when you go to a show, you're usually already a fan?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't tend to go to live music shows. The only I'm not a huge Travis Scott fan, but I went to a Travis Scott show. And I admire his ability to put on a live show. He's very, very entertaining. But the music, I'm not gonna go home and just suddenly become a Travis Scott fan.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
2021, he did arenas, which I think he would still do arenas. I'm not trying to downplay any of his impact or how many fans he has, but 2021, one night at Barclays.
Okay.
And he was more active then, no?
I mean, his mystery has grown, and he's sold crazy.
Well, he's going on tour with The Weeknd right now. I believe. I don't know when it starts, but I believe he's going on tour with The Weeknd. So I don't know why they didn't mention that. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like a lot of these podcasters, they don't ever mention The Weeknd. And The Weeknd be selling out stadiums like it's Warner. Like it's crazy. I don't know why they don't mention it. I don't know. Sometimes I think they just forget. I don't know. She mentioned everybody, Lady Gaga, Beyonce, all these people, but Taylor Swift. But they didn't mention The Weeknd. He's the only male artist that's selling out stadiums. That is in his caliber. Maybe they're gonna mention him. I don't know.
Fan base has grown. Say that.
His mystery has
Don't
grown.
say his fan base has grown. He just did some shit we've never seen when his album dropped. We just seen it. We just saw it.
We click a bunch of things we don't care about.
All right, man. All right. Okay.
That's not always tangible ticket sales.
Okay.
I don't fucking watch Aiden Ross and I don't listen to Playboy Cardi. I definitely fucking clicked when he paid $1 million and didn't show up. Or was that Aiden Ross? Whoever the fuck it was. $2 million, which obviously was a fucking lie. But I clicked it. You think I give a fuck about either of those people? And there's no disrespect.
I'm not saying
I'm not trying to come across
no,
that way.
I'm not saying you do, but I'm just asking you, how can you not see the insane fan base that Playboy Cardi has, the insane shit he's done when he did with his album drop, the numbers that he did.
Incredible.
Like, and not think that he can't sell out MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, I have to agree with him on that. I would say some stadiums, but not all. Yeah, so what y'all think about that? Y'all think that give me a number in your top five, who you believe is actually a superstar, who you believe that could be a superstar? Because from what I'm seeing, a lot of these artists, I don't think is gonna make it past 4 or 5 more years. All the artists that was named, the ones, if they haven't been doing it for years already, I don't think these artists is gonna make it. I don't think none of them are gonna make it. So what y'all think though? Tell me what y'all think. All right, man, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no question for y'all today. I'm sorry. I just ain't got a question. So, but I'll have one on the next episode. See y'all. Peace. Bye.